Welcome back to Friday's play. It's the first day of the single elimination phase of the Hanoi Open, and we're about to see the defending champion Jayson Shaw against the man in your picture, Wang Ming of China. This is a last 32 match. And while we're waiting for this to start, I'll tell you what's been going on since we came off air a short time ago. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz was 6-1 down against Raymond Faraon of the Philippines. It's now level at 8-all. The winner of that will play Ko Po Cheng, who's defeated Bernie Regalario 10-7. Ko Ping Han was a 10-5 winner over Mustafa Alnar. And so he'll now face either Skylar Woodward or JC Cordova Garcia. Woodward just ahead, 7-6 at the moment. There'll be an all-Philippines clash between AJ Manis and Carlo Beado. Manis won 10-7 against his fellow Philippines player, Marvin Assis. Beado comfortably through 10-2 over Bezar Spahiu. Shane Wolford still looking to get into that US Moscone Cup team again after his debut last year. Saw off Britain's Elliot Sanderson 10-5. And Wolford will now play Ko Ping Chung, who won 10-6 against Michael Baunan of the Philippines. So in terms of other matches that have been concluded since we were last with you, Harry Vergara has beaten the British veteran Imran Majid 10-5. Honus Suto was a 10-6 winner over Bui Trong An, so Suto will play Vergara. And Jeffrey Rodder won 10-5 against Michael Feliciano. Rodder, quarter-finalist at the recent US Open. At the moment, it looks as though his next opponent will be Loh Ho Sum, because he's currently 9-5 up on Lo Van Swan. And in terms of other matches still going on in that round, Andri Januarta of Indonesia has a 7-5 lead over Wang Hung Sang. Pius Labutis, semi-finalist in a couple of these Matchroom Open events over the last 18 months or so, leads recent ranking event winner Georgi Georgiev of Bulgaria 5-3. And Francesco Candela and Long Duc Tien are level at 6-all. So that brings you right up to date with the last 64. We are now going to turn our thoughts to the last 32, which is just starting to get underway across various tables. James Aranis is playing Chang Yu Lung on table 11. That one is just getting started. Aranis was the first player through to the last 32 earlier today. So, time for the lag. And then we'll be underway with another race to 10. And if you win this one, you're then through to the weekend's play.
Yeah, it looks to be what I thought would be Jayson Shaw easily on the lag. He did win it. Much closer than I thought it would be. Jayson with a close one against a youngster, Landon Hollingsworth, in the last round.
Yeah, fluked the 9 to close out a 10-8 win after the teenager had come charging right back at him. And the scratch off the break means Wang Ming has got a good chance straight away.
Yeah, sometimes Jayson doesn't stay down on the break as much, meaning like not as many pre-strokes from time to time, and couldn't say he's too upset about the hit, but the scratch was definitely on him. And he's going to overrun position here, even though there are little options. He can fall off the left side, our left side of the pink, following the cue ball between the purple and the green 6.
Wang Ming, 38 years of age, and a semi-finalist as part of the China B team at the World Cup of Pool in Shanghai 16 years ago.
Yeah, fell a little above this, but shouldn't be a problem. He's nice and close to it. He can kind of kill it with English, hitting down on the ball if he wants, or he could ease it in. Wasn't so sure when it left the cue ball, but 5 hit pretty sweet to the pocket, and you can see a player that gets on with it. That's going to be a little short of ideal, maybe. So maybe has to take a bit more on the 8. Seems to me, though, a guy that really kind of leans on knocking the ball in and just kind of making sure where's the ideal position from the position he's in now. Now, I don't think we've seen Wang here on one of the main tables and having to deal with the shot clock, not as of yet that I can recall, so doesn't appear it's going to be any kind of problem, though, with his, I wouldn't say fast pace of play, but certainly not slow. He's overcut that.
Well, that was a good chance to lay down an early marker off Shaw's break error.
Yeah, and you'd like to say it was a narrow miss, Michael, but that wasn't the case. I mean, that missed by about 2 inches above the pocket on the long rail. Probably going around the table here. Oh, he played the safety. That's, to me, I wouldn't say alarming, just very surprising.
Well, Jayson Shaw, you could say, has made it quite easy for Wang Ming in this opening rack. Chinese player got a real let-off after his miss on the 8. Comes back in to pot the last 2 balls, and he leads Jayson Shaw 1-0. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz is now on the hill, leading Raymond Farion 9-8. Sanchez Ruiz won the Perry Open last week here in Vietnam. If he wins this tournament, he will qualify for the Moscone Cup team. Mickey Kraus currently occupying the 1 remaining automatic spot on the European team. But he's now out of the tournament, so he can't improve his position any further.
Yeah, and FSR trailed 6-1 in that match as well, so showing a lot of heart.
Just to wrap up that Moscone picture, if Kraus had beaten Shane Van Boening, that would mean nobody could overtake him without winning the tournament. But David O'Cady could now go ahead of him by getting to the final. So that's something to keep an eye on over the next few days. Here, Wang Ming continuing his positive start.
Yeah, and I tell you, David O'Cady, of course, a guy we don't ignore with his career, and of course it's been a really good one. Wants one of those really big wins, of course, the U.S. Open or the World 9 Ball, but you know, he kind of gets overlooked. We talked about it, Phil and I think it was, in the last match, that until it gets down to like the final 16, we just don't talk about him enough. And he's a super consistent player and certainly capable of winning. He's shown us that.
I think David could win a title by sneaking into one of these junior events. He only looks about 14.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I was talking to a couple of the locals outside, and one of them asked my age, and then they asked me to guess theirs, and I was only off by about 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
I guessed 20 on both of them. I think one was 33 and the other was 34. Could not believe it.
Everyone starts to look younger as we get older, Jeremy.
I guess that's what's part of it for sure. Now the cue ball on the rail and a little bit of an angle. You know, he's elevating. Got to go into the 9 with elevation, doesn't he? Yeah, I didn't understand that necessarily, but since he does have distance on the 8, he did push the 9 into a little more playable position.
Broke down on the 8 in the first rack, although he did get back in to win it. And it's a bit of a tester on the same ball this time. If this shot goes well, should be a very swift 2-0 lead. Again, it's the 8, and again by some distance, Jeremy.
Yeah, and I couldn't say that as much on the last, but that was definitely a D-cell. Kind of reared the backswing back and just kind of drifted into the cue ball with the forward stroke. So the black ball hadn't been his best so far.
Yeah, got away with missing the 8 in rack 1. Didn't get away with it a second time. And Jayson Shaw takes the opportunity to level the match at 1-all. JC Cordova Garcia of the Philippines has now drawn level with Skylar Woodward. That one is 7-all. That's in the round prior to this. Francesco Candela, Italian World Cup player, 8-6 up on Long Duc Tien. Pius Labutus now leading Georgi Georgiev 6-3. And Andri Januarta of Indonesia is now on the hill at 9-5 against Wang Hong Sang. They're all in the last 64. In this last 32 round, the two Philippines players who won the World Cup together in Spain last year are both in action at the moment. Johan Chua has won the first rack against Chen Ching Yu, while James Aranis has shared the first couple with Chang Yu Long. Jeffrey Ignacio, another Philippines player, 1-0 up on his compatriot Jerson Camayas. Over on table 2, Ko Pin Yi and Tyler Steyer just starting their one. That's worth keeping a close eye on. 1-all here.
Yeah, almost lost the cue ball in that same side pocket. This 2-ball's going to open up a bit off the rail, and I think we'll see a cross-side bank to start rack number 3. I think the 3 is playable if he gets over on that side of the table. I think this sits really kind of perfect. Now, we saw him pass on an 8-ball that was cuttable in the first game and elected to play safe. So I don't think he sized up the bank at all. And to me, this looks really, really good to come around the pink 4 a couple rails and lay the cue ball on the right side rail for a cut on the 3. And you got to realize this is the final 32, and I think he feels like a huge favorite here. But you're not going to win against all these top players, you know, electing to play passive, you know, more often than not. I mean, just too many things. They kick well. This has gotten away unless he gets a bump. And that's what I mean. You're trying to force a safety that maybe isn't quite there. And maybe the rails being a hair bouncy maybe made him have a little question mark about the cross-side bank.
So for Jayson Shaw, the pattern so far in this Hanoi Open has been comfortable win, then close one. That's been the cycle a couple of times. Beat Nguyen Dat P 9-1, but was then pushed hard by another Vietnamese player, Hai Long Lee. That one was 9-7. Back to comfortable winning ways against Wen Van Hai in winners qualification, 9-2. And then that close one I was talking about earlier against the teenager from South Carolina, Landon Hollingsworth, 10-8. Just an hour or two ago.
Yeah, this 2 may have a pocket. I don't mind the 2-4 combination, but now electing the safety versus either one of those offensive shots. Yeah, he's going to leave the 2 again.
Wang Ming has taken a defeat along the way. Beat Ha Minh Tuan of Vietnam 9-4, then Hill against another Vietnamese player, Do Van Kai, but was sent to the loser side by Shane Wolford. Got through by beating Chen Chen Wei 9-5. And then earlier today was involved in a very close one for much of the way against Lee Van Corteza, the former World Cup of Pool winner from the Philippines, but Wang finished very strongly. Got the job done 10-6 in the end.
Okay, what's he doing here? He's trying to push through onto the 7, I guess. He's got to hope this stays on the bottom cushion. Somewhat did. Maybe a little bit of a stretch to reach this with the jump cue.
Ball in hand then for Shaw as he looks to take the lead for the first time in this match. One of the most memorable occasions of recent years on the World 9-Ball Tour when he won here last year. Didn't get off to a good start at all in the final against Alban Ocean. Ended up winning in one of many big finals we've seen go to a deciding rack over the last year or two. You know what it's like, Jeremy, to win a big 9-ball title and then come back the following year and try to defend it. Does it change the mindset at all, or is it a case that the game's just hard enough as it is without thinking about things like that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you always want to win every tournament you go to, but, you know, there's special ones when you win a big one. You know, you go through a little more. It's almost like you rekindle what you did the prior year as a winner when you do arrive, and you get a lot of attention, so you got to stay focused overall, I think, at times. And, of course, here in Vietnam with Jayson not only having so many fans, gaining so many more with that win last year. And, you know, you got to, just like any tournament, I think, try and take it in stride and let the tournament come to you a bit.
Ball in hand leads to a 2-1 lead for the Scot. This is in the last 32. In the previous round, Skylar Woodward is still trying to get through. He's just won rack 15 to lead JC Cordova Garcia 8-7. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz on the hill, as we were saying, at 9-8 against Raymond Farayon. Francesco Candela's on the hill as well, 9-6 against Long Duc Tien. Pius Labutus, couple in front of Georgi Georgiev at 6-4. And Andriy Januarta looking for one more. Leads Wang Hung Sang 9-6. And in this round, Chang Yu Long is now 2-1 up on James Aranis. Johan Chua leads 2-1 over Chin Ching Yu. Jeffrey Ignacio leading 2-0 over Gerson Camayas. And Robbie Capito's won the first against Cledio Cachi. Edward Koyongian has also taken the opening rack in his match against Wen Van Hein. Back here, it's 2-1 to the reigning champ.
Yeah, he was going to go across side again, it appeared. Can't be too unhappy there, though. I think he may have gotten away with one a bit. We'll see. This angle's not going to show us the best path on the cue ball. That's the one. Don't think it was going to go on the side, but it was going to threaten a little bit. And this is the Jayson Shaw we want to see, him taking on these balls here. Letting the cue ball come some 4 cushions. Alright, when the pockets start to get a little tighter, if he has to apply spin, easy to overcut this into the side rail. Oh, he hit it sweet. Gonna get a bump. I'm not sure he wanted, but now this type of shot, no doubt, what I've seen so far, he's not even contemplating going offense here. And I think he probably knows, you know, Wang a bit better than we do, and probably feels like the tactical side of the game is maybe not his best. And Jayson not wanting to get what looks like a very straight shooter, you know, trying not to let him get any easy momentum. But at the same time, almost like offensive. You can't force safeties either if that's not really the right shot.
So it's taken him a couple of goes to win it, but all in all, a pretty dominant fourth rack from Jayson Shaw. He was a couple of balls away from being 2-0 down in this match. Now he leads it by 3 racks to 1. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz was 6-1 down to Raymond Farion of the Philippines. He then won 9 of the next 11 racks, and as a result, he's won the match by 10 racks to 8. FSR will play Ko Po Cheng in the next round.
Yeah, he showed a lot of heart, or as they say over there, quarter zone there, coming back in that match and never giving up.
Yeah, he's involved in that battle for the one remaining automatic spot on the European Moscone Cup team. Now, with Victor Zielinski having already gone out, we came into today with only the 2 Spanish players, David Alcaide and Sanchez Ruiz, able to overtake Mickey Kraus, who currently occupies that spot. Sanchez Ruiz will be in the Moscone Cup team for the 3rd year in a row if he wins the tournament.
Yeah, and of course our sport, like so many individual sports, it's all about trending at the right time and heading in a good direction. Got to say that's the case for FSR. And I think this is cuttable. I think the 2 got up just enough. May have to have a little disregard of the cue ball. You'll remember a 4 ball that Federer missed early on a similar thin one, trying to really play position more. And I like what Jayson did there, seeing an open 3 ball, hard to get snookered, putting the emphasis on the blue 2.
Yeah, Jayson Shaw, of course, is going to be playing captain of the European team for the first time when we get to Florida next month. So it was already decided at the start that if he didn't get one of the 3 automatic spots, he would use one of his wild cards on himself. Now that's going to be the case because even if he wins this tournament, he can't claim an automatic spot. So we know Catchy's in, we know Filler is in, we know Shaw is in. And it's going to be one of Kraus, Alcaide and Sanchez Ruiz who gets the last automatic spot. And I guess, Jeremy, it's pretty safe to say that whichever one of those 3 does get automatically into Shaw's team, it'll be a straight choice between the other 2. Or do you see someone else in the picture?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of great players that have played really well, so we'll see how that goes. And a few of them you can name that Jayson Shaw has had a lot of success with on that European team as well, and success recently. So I wouldn't say it's for sure, even though I do like those 2, and I think they or 2 out of those 3 should be heavily considered.
Yeah, remember, Mickey Kraus is guaranteed to get that spot unless either Alcaide or Sanchez Ruiz wins the tournament. Jayson Shaw then zipping through that rack and now really taking firm control, leading 4-1. So elsewhere in that last 64 round, Skylar Woodward still 8-7 in front against JC Cordova Garcia. Francesco Candela 9-6 up on Long Duc Tien. Georgi Georgiev has won the 11th rack to get back to 6-5 down against Piers Labutas. And it's now 9-7 for Andriy Januarta over Wang Hung Sang. They're all in the last 64. In the last 32, Jeffrey Ignacio was flying along, 3-0 up. And Jerson Comayas, Johan Chua leading 3-1 over Chin Ching Yu. James Aranis and Chang Yu Lung are 2-all. Robbie Capito's won the first couple of racks against Cledio Kachi, and so has Edward Koyongian against Wen Van Hein. Tyler Steyer has won the first against Ko Pin Yi. 4-1 here to Shaw.
Yeah, I kind of remedied that first scratch, getting the one down very consistently so far in this match. You know, he's leaned on the safeties here early. He'll do it again here on the blue too.
Just looking at the American picture, Tyler Steyer at the moment occupying the lead position in the race for the last automatic spot. Fedor Gorst and Shane Van Boning both already in. Now Oscar Dominguez is out, so he can't overtake Steyer. But Skylar Woodward and Shane Wolford can. Woodward, similarly as playing captain, will be in, but of course I'm sure he'd like to make it in automatically, which he can still do, to give himself the 2 picks.
Yeah, watch out, cue ball. And really, it's just been a sort of little kind of crazy things for Wang so far, and really good stuff from Jayson. All right, looks like he's just going to stun between the 6 and 9, or is he going to follow between the 4 and 8 now? That's pretty good, really good.
What about from the American point of view then? We had Steyer, Dominguez and Wolford all battling, I suppose effectively for, well, doing the maths here now. So we knew Gorst, Van Boning and Woodward were going to be in. So it was between those guys trying to break into the team. Do you see someone outside that bracket having a chance of getting a pick?
I mean, I got to give it to, you know, if Tyler goes in on points, if that stands true, I think that last spot at the moment feels like it's got to be either Oscar or Billy. If Skylar goes through, I think those last 2 spots at the moment feel like they got to be either Tyler, Oscar, or Billy. But not having the best year, Shane Wolford has played some of his best pool here in Hanoi, a very convincing win in the last round, and a player that you know, showed some class last year at Alexander Palace.
Yeah, Thorpe, of course, out of the running for an automatic spot, but his experience in the Moscone and the fact he's had some success of late puts him in that conversation.
Yeah, this got odd. I don't know if he can hold this. He may play this in the corner and wrap the cue ball 3 rails around. He may play it in the side and come with some 4 cushions around. This has gotten odd. I think the side is what I really like. Oh, he killed it nicely. You could hear a little light feathery tip hitting the cue ball, so that was a bit on the bottom end, trying to slow it up. Another player that, you know, you might take a reference from golf, they say, that has very soft hands. Jayson Shaw, really good touch, creates a lot of power.
Well, early on, it looked like this might be quite a close match, and of course it may yet be. But it's all one way at the moment. Jayson Shaw has won 5 in a row to lead Wang Ming 5-1. Skylar Woodward now on the hill at 9-7 against JC Cordova Garcia. Francesco Candela also 9-7 in front on Long Duc Tien. Georgi Georgiev has just made it back to 6-all against Pius Labutus. And Wang Hung Sang won't go away. Back now to 9-8 down against Andriy Januarta. They are all in the last 64. In the last 32 round, James Aranis 3-2 up on Chang Yu Lung. Robbie Capito off to a flyer against Cledio Kachi. He leads 3-0. Johan Chua leads 3-1 over Chin Ching Yu. Jeffrey Ignacio 4-1 up on Jerson Comayas. Edward Koyongian has won all of the first 3 racks against Wen Van Hein, and it's 1-all between Ko Pin Yi and Tyler Steyer. Steyer coming through a hill against Patrick Gonzalez in the previous round. So Jayson Shaw, quite swiftly really, has already made it halfway to his target.
Yeah, it almost feels like it's going to take a ball in hand of some sort to really get Wang back into this match. Jayson trying to use his head as much as possible and not let the talented man from China get started. Snookered here, but nothing to worry about. You always have the push out. Could take on the jump. I doubt he does it, though. And against other players, that's the difference in this game of pool. If you know your opponents, you know, if he's playing a very tactically sound player, right? I doubt he pushes out here. I think he takes on the jump and then tries to knock in the 3. But now Wang really hasn't really shown him to do something different. This one's pretty routine, though, off the left side of the blue 2. Traveling the cue ball a couple rails around behind the black 8 and 9. If he can get to the left side of the 2, maybe it's not there. Obviously, it's not. Didn't cut the 2 enough. Sometimes it's easy to hit that ball heavy because you don't want it to lay up in the side. Nothing easy here, though. Yeah, and it's almost like he hadn't had enough shots to really settle himself. Michael's what it seems like to me anyways.
Wang Ming wasn't well known at all when he and Daijing Kong teamed up to form the China B team at that World Cup of Pool in Shanghai. I think I said 16 years ago. Of course, it was only 6 years ago. But they had an incredible run. They beat South Africa in the first round. And then they really turned on the style. Saw off Germany, Ralph Souquet and Joshua Filler in a close second round match. Then in the quarterfinals, they beat the Philippines 9-1. Carlo Beado and Jeff DeLuna. And Wang had a 9-ball for the match against Austria, the holders in the semi-finals, but missed it and was inconsolable afterwards. Team of Mario He and Alban Ocean got through 9-8. That really is the only time we've seen Wang Ming make much of an impact on the world stage.
Getting to move the arm a bit more here in rack number 7. When I watched him practice the break, it seemed pretty decent, but it's something you got to feel like he's got to get going to overcome. I know it's early, but Jayson seems pretty on point.
Looks to have recovered this well. So a little bit of self-induced anxiety just towards the end of the rack. But he's got it done. So after losing 5 in a row, Wang Ming takes rack 7. Jayson Shaw now leads 5-2. He's actually been around quite a while, Wang Ming, in terms of taking part in big international events and getting to last 32s and last 16s towards the end of the 2000s decade. And even this year he's been to the last 32 of a world ranking event, the Lushan Open. And it really is that World Cup run 6 years ago that just stands out as his one big moment. And still has a chance of another one here, and indeed it's been a very good run for him already. Whatever happens now. One more winner to tell you about. Andriy Januarta has seen off Wang Hong Sang 10-8, and will now play either Pius Labutis or Georgi Georgiev in the last 32. They are currently level at 6-all.
Yeah, maybe a kiss helping him avoid a scratch there. Cross side, did get the one down. Should be a safety, but you never know with the 9 near. Looks like the cue ball was coming one rail towards the side, but they've been a little short of it. These are always touchy from distance. Having to roll it lightly. Yeah, I don't think that's what he wanted. It's certainly not. Does he need to cheat this if he goes forward or backwards? Okay, drew it nicely between the 5-8. Don't think the 5 plays though. And it's a very, you know, not a hard combination on the 9 if you get right in front of it, but if you're off at all, probably low percentage.
Just referring back to that win for Andri Januarta. We were just saying a couple of days ago that Indonesia, a country of more than 250 million people, could be the next rising force in Asia in the world of pool. And that's 2 of their players now into the last 32. Edward Koyongyang got through earlier.
Yeah, Jayson may have gotten a little fortunate not to get, you know, really kind of snookered or maybe more on top of this 5 ball. He's going to play a little chip shot off the green 6 lightly. Did the 6 come up? That's not what he wanted. Yeah, he's missed a jump. Fouled on the 2. I think it was in rack number 3 and missed one kick already. Sizing up the jump here. Well, the 6 is going to come back down, but pretty solid hit. Looks like the 8 does go. Jayson just checked that. So he should take this on in the side.
Could have turned out worse.
Yeah, that's to get back up 4 games. He knows that Wang's going to attack here. Knocked a nice bank in the last rack. Well, he doesn't slow roll him much, huh, Michael?
Yeah, he's fast in every way. The pace looks pretty good, and as you say, he hits them with quite a lot of speed as well. So as I said, it could have turned out worse because he hadn't left a simple starter, but emphatically done from Wang Ming. That didn't lead him anywhere.
I like him keeping it simple there. I mean, I know it's left a shot, but certainly nothing easy, and after a miss, you never know. Well, he didn't even go for it. Wow, I mean, kind of went for it, but that was much more about safe than anything. Good speed with the cue ball, though. This may fluke in the upper left. May go in the upper left. All right, just a zigzag back and forth.
Well, it's felt like a big rack, this one. It was 5-1 to Jayson Shaw, but There's the very real possibility of Wang getting back to 5-3 and putting a bit of doubt in Shaw's head. As it is, he's going to restore that 4-rack advantage. Jayson Shaw polishes off the 9 to lead 6-2. And as one of the playing captains for this year's Moscone Cup looks to advance to the last 16, Skylar Woodward is going to captain the American team, has made it into the last 32. He's finished strongly to win 10-7 against JC Cordova Garcia. Woodward had so many good tournaments in 2023. This was not one of them. He didn't make it to the last 32 then, but he has this time, and he will face Ko Ping Han. Elsewhere in the remaining last 64 matches, Georgi Georgiev now 7-6 up on Pius Labutus. And Francesco Candelo of Italy has finished it off against Long Duc Tien at 10-7.
I'll tell you, you talked about Ko Ping Han. And we talk about, you know, Philippines bringing so many players, they get 18 in. And other countries, of course, doing well. The United States right there also, percentage-wise. But just look at the Ko family. They bring 3 in, and they get 3 into the final 64.
Yeah, and they're all still in it for the last 32.
Absolutely. Oh, did Ko Ping Chung already win?
Yeah, they've all won.
Okay, I know it gotten a little close there. He's my pick to win it, outside of an American, of course.
You could look at it and say Ko Ping Chung might feel he's got something to prove after not being in the Reyes team, but he just seems too nice a man to even think in those terms.
Yeah, I don't know if this really lays here to do what Jason's looking at. We'll see how he cues the ball. High ball, I don't know if he can really get into the 9 here or not. Oh, he did. He just threaded the needle on the 6. And that's what it took to get every bit of just getting a piece of the 9.
He really does fly the flag alone so often for Britain at the top level of the game. You think of all the really good British players we've seen over the last couple of decades. Carl Boyes, Darren Appleton, Darryl Peach. But really now, Jayson Shaw is the only player who's consistently at the top level of the game. We see Chris Melling come and play in these tournaments and do well in them. He's not really playing 9-ball full-time, real Q Sports all-rounder.
Yeah, when I tell you, I think England would catch right back up. It's just a matter of, you know, facilities, and you have to have tournaments back there, and you just have to have certain things that set up success.
Now, what's going on over on table 2? As you can see, Tyler Steyer with a 4-1 lead over Ko Ping Yi, looking to make it 5-1 quite swiftly. There goes the 3-9 combination. It's turning into a very good tournament for your country, JJ.
No, absolutely. And, you know, these guys, they're coming here because they've been on the grind, you know, and it's been like that for a few years, trying to improve in all facets and trying to figure it out. America's going to be one of the best again, I promise.
Well, Jayson Shaw is based in the US these days, has been for some time. He's still 100% a Scot, though, and he's going very nicely in this match. Still one match to conclude in the round prior to this. 7-all between Pius Labutus and Georgi Georgiev. So in the last 32, James Aranis now leads Chang Yulong 5-2. Claudio Cacci's coming back into it against Robbie Capito. Cacci now trails 3-2. Johan Chua 6-1 up against Ching Yu. Chua having such a consistent year. Jeffrey Ignacio with a 5-2 lead over Jerson Komayas. Edward Koyongian looking to continue the Indonesian success story here. 3-1 up on Win Van Hein. And the next match on the main table is going to be an all-Philippines clash. Plenty of those going on today. Carlo Biado, former World and US Open champion, against AJ Manis, winner of the junior title here in Hanoi last year. who had that fine win over Mickey Kraus on the main table yesterday. Back here, it continues to go well for Shaw in rack 10.
Yeah, the break shot, he stuck to it, and things are really opening up. Got the one down again. Great shot on the blue, too. Again, but overall, I think this, table number one, the mainstream table here for the first 4 days, has really broke beautifully for most all the players. All right, a little flat and a little stretched, so he's going to have to put a little power into this. Kind of a stun draw across. The 6 is a hair awkward, even though near the pocket. Love to stay above this. Wants to get close to the 6 no matter how he plays it. Oh, somebody's doing a little meditating in his chair, praying for a shot.
Yeah, he's spending a lot of time sitting there. He's only been beyond this last 32 stage once in one of the big field matchroom events this year. That was last time out at the US Open when he got to the last 16 and was beaten by Shane Van Boening in a clash of former US Open champions. Went out early in the UK Open and the European Open, beaten last 64 in both of those, and lost in the last 32 of the World Championship for the 3rd year in a row to David O'Cady. Was a semi-finalist though in the limited field World Masters and beat Shane Van Boening along the way there. But we could see how frustrated he was, Jeremy, with the outcome of the previous shot. He's gone for the more difficult 6 than he would have been anticipating, and he's left it for Wang Ming.
Yes, he sure has. Talked about that 6 ball was a little funny right from the get. This is going to be okay with the friendly bump, and maybe a little deserving to get back in this match. But I think the 6 was very makeable, but trying to put some speed on it, that being in the side pocket. Is this okay? Yes, it is. Made it, like I said, drawn back position for the 7, made the 6 a little more missable. Took it on in the corner, and a rare miss ball, especially here in this match from Eagle Eye.
Well, I guess if you've got the extension, you may as well use it. He is stretching a little, but this should be okay. And Wang Ming gets it back to 7-3. It was 5-1 to Jayson Shaw, but they've been trading racks since then. Well, 2-2 since that point, so it's 7-3 overall is the bottom line to Jayson Shaw. So elsewhere in this round, James Aranas 5-3 up on Chang Yu Lung. No change in the Robbie Capito Claudio Cacci match. That one is still 3-2. Johan Chua leads 6-2 over Chin Ching Yu. Jeffrey Ignacio leads by the same score over Jerson Comayas. 3-1 now for Edward Koyongian against Wen Van Hein. And still 5-1 for Tyler Steyer against Ko Pin Yi. Steyer has won 4 in a row.
Yeah, getting through some close ones, and again, showing a lot of heart doing so, Mr. Steyer. And now he has to play from having the lead against one of the best in the business, so we'll see how that holds.
He's having such a good year, Steyer. He won back-to-back ranking events in the States back in midsummer.
Yeah, pretty good break off there. I like the hit on the 1. A nice spread. And it's been the blue 2 from distance that has really caused problems for Wang. He's missed it at least 2 times that I remember, and it may have been 3. Speaking of 3, does the red 3 pass the black 8? That really makes things different. on this opening shot, and I think it does go. Remember last time, similar shot he kind of let up on. Oh, these pockets, you know, anytime the rails get a hair more springy, that means the pocket does tighten. Watch that 2-ball. Of course, you missed it on the replay there, but it went down deep in that corner. And of course, the Racing with the deep shelves. Well, this normally you want to play rail first here, but this is dangerous. Oh, he hit it beautifully. I don't know if he's going to end up with a pocket. If he gets off the rail, he's got the side. And the scratch is covered up, I think, going forward, so you may see him not elevate here and maybe just kind of go at the braille in 7 somewhat, trying to produce position on the pink. If he elevates, he really brings a miss into play. I like him just, you know, you're not going to get snookered, so if you don't get shaped, that's okay. Yes, I think it's a smart shot there from Eagle Eye.
I think the general feeling is that Jayson Shaw was born to lead that European Moscone Cup team, as he will be doing next month for the first time in Florida. What do you think, Jeremy? Do you think he's got all the right credentials for the job?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, he's been in touch with it, with different teams. You know, he's seen different situations. He's been on winning and losing teams, a variety of score lines, and, you know, let alone what he brings not only on the table but off. So I don't think it was anything but a hanger decision for him to be a captain one day. You know, who knows when it was going to happen, of course, because he's still in his playing days. But I think it worked out perfectly as far as, you know, the combination of him and Skylar Woodward, maybe getting it a bit earlier than we thought.
9 in the side. And Jayson Shaw, for the second time, is 5 clear. So really now it's a massive ask for Wang Ming. He's going to have to win 7 of the next 8 racks. Still 7-all between Pius Labutis and Georgi Georgiev in the one remaining last 64 match. Johan Chua is 3 away from being in for the weekend, once again in a big matchroom event in 2024. Leads Chin Ching Yu 7-2. Claudio Cacci is now levelled at 3-all with Robbie Capito. James Aranis is 5-3 up on Chang Yu Lung. Jeffrey Ignacio 6-3 ahead of Jerson Komayas. 4-1 now for Edward Koyongian of Indonesia over Win Van Hine. And Ko Pin Yi has finally stopped Tyler Steyer in his tracks after losing the last 4. Ko has won rack 7. Steyer still looking very nice though at 5-2. Pius Labutis has just won the 15th rack, so he now leads Georgi Georgiev 8-7 as they battle for the right to face Andriy Januarta in the last 32. And in the last 32 match, Jayson Shaw just needs a couple more racks. I talked about his mixed year, shall we say, in the matchroom events. He has won a ranking tournament, though, this year in Pennsylvania back in April. Beat Pius Labutis, actually, in the final of that.
All right, the lefty's going to shave the 2. He's going to try and use the 6, 7, and 9, it appears. And again, he wanted the snooker, but the main thing that I feel is he just doesn't want any easy starter for his opponent. And of course, you never do, but certain players, you kind of feel like they don't need an easy starter, but, and that's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is tactically, he feels like he's going to beat him. And a beautiful tactical shot here. Could be 1 rail, could be 2 rails, kind of what you prefer. I kind of like the 2 cushions myself coming out of that top left corner on your screen, but all right, he's got a shot. It's not easy. Got to put a little into the cue ball to come down table. And he's still got plenty of work from there, but not a whole lot more you can ask for. He's overcut this by some piece. He's going to get safe, I think. There may be a gap.
Well, as that 2-ball was coming down, I was thinking, what are the odds against having a shot through the gap between the 4 and the 6? Well, he could get to the 2. Couldn't get through to pot it direct.
I don't really know Wang. Really only saw him cue the ball a few times prior to this match. And that's what I mean, though, right there. You saw a little sloppy tactically, to be fair there. And really doesn't seem like he puts a lot of thought into the safeties either. When you have a big group of balls like the 6, 7, and the 5, the 4, and the 8, a lot of times you can keep the safety even more simple. All right, Jayson may come short side here. I kind of like just a little top left spin. Try and check the cue ball. No, he's going to come tight. And the reason being the pink does play to the lower right. It's a shot I thought he might play. Sweet stroke there to get enough to get by the 9 and the 6. Kind of looks like he's just kind of out there by himself, huh? Michael?
Yeah, it has a bit of that feel to it. It's like he doesn't feel under a huge amount of threat in the match. Doesn't seem to have a huge amount of doubt about the outcome. And you've got to remember, Wang Ming was a couple of balls away from leading 2-0 so early on. We thought Shaw might have it really put up to him here. It just hasn't been that way.
Yeah, fell a little straighter here, so he's going to check his work just to make sure this 8 is, I wouldn't say easy, but very playable from just right where the 7's at. Now you go back and forth, not wanting to ease it. Went on the lighter side and quickly to the hill.
Wang Ming was the only Chinese player to make the last 32 of this Hanoi Open. He may not be around much longer because he's going to have to win all of the last 7 racks. Jayson Shaw is absolutely cruising here. He leads 9-3. Johan Chua is also getting pretty close to being in for the weekend. 8-2 now against Chin Ching Yu. James Aranis 5-4 up on Chang Yu Long. Jeffrey Ignacio going well. 7-3 lead over Jayson Shaw. Ignacio was a quarter-finalist at the World Championship earlier in the year. If he gets the 3 remaining racks he needs, he'll be 1 win away from getting to that stage again here. Edward Koyongian 4-1 up on Win Van Hine, and a couple of racks in a row now for Ko Pin Yi. He's back to 5-3 down against Tyler Steyer.
Yeah, for you SVB fans, and there's so many, he's going to play Candela there to get to the final 16, and I tell you, it seems like those two draw each other in this position like at least every other tournament, if not more often.
I was thinking that, actually. I was wondering, had I imagined that? But when I saw Van Bonin versus Candela, it had a real air of familiarity about it.
Yeah, I think that's how Fran got knocked out of the U.S. Open. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that he's drawn SVB in this spot quite often and has run him to, like a 10-6, 10-7 scoreline a few times. So, you can't, when you go to pro sports, it's when you talk about the draw, I mean, you just really can't talk about lucky or unlucky in these stages. But, for so often, he could draw a little easier, I think, that being Fran, and a guy that's steadily improving. All right. I don't know if he was trying to really do much with the 3, just going to make Wang play a safety of some sort to get anything started.
Yeah, they met at a slightly earlier stage of the US Open back in August. Candela put it up to Van Bonen a bit. The American eventually winning 10-6.
Well, there's another simple safety that got away from Wang. Maybe needing to jump this. I don't know if the purple 5's in the way. May just be able to play with a little spin. Doesn't seem too concerned. So if that's the case, I think that's the last shot we've seen from Wang here in the 2024 Hanoi Open.
So if Shaw can polish this off, he'll then be waiting to see whether he plays Edward Koyongian or Win Van Hein in the next round. Koyongian leading 4-1 at the moment. Then again, he might not be waiting on that, because I was actually with him last night when the draw came through for the final 64, and I said, "Do you want to know who you're playing?" And he said no. He said, "I just want to find out in the morning," and seemed to work pretty well for him. Got through against Landon Hollingsworth.
Yeah, and again, hang your head high, Mr. Hollingsworth. Heck of a tournament.
He has been one of the big breakout stars of this tournament. I've been so impressed with how he's played, his demeanour, and I think we'll hear a lot more about him. And it looks as though we'll be seeing a lot more of Jayson Shaw here in Hanoi.
Yeah, just dressed up perfectly for only inches away. And it may be a concession on the 9-ball. I kind of got the feeling Wang may throw in the towel, but yeah.
Wang Ming will be very pleased to have made it to the last 32. Less so with how he played when he got there. Never really got into the match. Did win the opening racket, a chance to win the second. And once that had passed him by, Jayson Shaw really took command. Hanoi was so special for him last year. It could be very special for him again this weekend, particularly if he keeps playing with that sort of rhythm. Jayson Shaw is the winner, 10-3, and he is through to the last 16 in defence of his Hanoi Open title. Carlo Beato knows all about winning big tournaments. He's won the two biggest of them all in the past, the World Championship and the US Open. He'll be playing for Asia in the Reyes Cup in Manila next week. But first, he's got business to take care of here in Hanoi. And that continues with an all-Philippines clash against the teenager AJ Manis. And that will be next up on the main table.
Welcome back to the Mansion Sports Hanoi Open Pool Championship of 2024. This is what's happened so far. Theodor Gorst, the world champion, the World Masters champion, the US Open champion, sadly had to retire in mid-match against James Arnaas due to feeling unwell. So Arnaas went into the last 32 as a consequence of that in a rather unusual fashion. Then we saw a classic encounter as Shane Van Boening came back from 9-6 down to beat Mickey Kraus 10-9. Kraus undercutting marginally. A tough 5-ball in the deciding rack, Van Boening tidying up. Much more comfortable for Jayson Shaw in overcoming Wang Ming to become one of the first players into the last 16 here tomorrow. As for Table 2, well, it started off with Johan Chua beating Jundal Mazon 10-7, and Ko Ping Chung then overcame Michael Bohannon 10-6. Both of those matches were in the last 64. And right now over there, Ko Ping Yi trying to fight back from a slow start. He was 5-1 down to Tyler Steyer. It's now 5-3 in favour of the Moscone Cup player from Wisconsin. Give you the very latest scores while I'm here. On Table 9, only one match still going in the round of 64. Lithuania's Pius Labutis is locked together with Bulgaria's Georgi Georgiev at 8 racks each. As for the last 32, well, Arnaas through at the expense of Gorst, or because of Gorst's withdrawal. He is 6-5 down to Chang Yulong. Robbie Capito, the UK Open champion from Hong Kong, he leads Claudio Cacci 5-3. Johan Chua is into the last 16 thanks to a 10-2 win over Qian Qingju. In an all-Filipino battle on Table 12, Jeffrey Ignacio is 7-4 up on Jayson Kumayas. We know about Jayson Shaw's progress against Wang Ming. Edward Koyongjun of Indonesia, he's 4-3 up on Win Van Hun. And I can tell you Tyler Steyer actually now on Table 2 is 6-3 up on Ko Ping Yi. If you want to see that match, by the way, as is always the case with Table 2, all of the action is being streamed on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel. As for the next pool centre stage we'll be bringing to you, it is the generation game of the Filipinos. It is 40-year-old Carlo Biardo against teenage sensation Albert AJ Manis. That's coming up shortly, so stay tuned and we'll be with you before you know it.